Now, newly elected Tshwane Mayor Randal Williams says the metro is in financial crisis. He says administrators left the city in a worse condition than it was in March, when the metro was placed under administration by the Gauteng Provincial government. Now, this was because of a standoff between political parties which prevented the approval of budgets and affected key services. The mayor says the administrators ran through a 284 million rand operational surplus and went on to incur a 4.4 billion rand deficit in just 3 months. Now, Mare-Lise Fourie has returned as the city's member of the Mayoral Committee on Finance, and she's been tasked with sorting out the city's finances. She joins us now live from Pretoria. Mare-Lise, good morning. Thanks again for your time this morning on the AM report. I mean, these figures are so incredibly worrying. I've got this 4.4 billion rand deficit, but I believe it's actually it's closer to 4.7 billion rand in deficit.
Well, morning, Michelle, and morning to your viewers. Yes, the situation is quite concerning. An operating deficit shows that the revenue was insufficient and the expenditure was not matching our reduced revenue. So it shows that the expenditure over revenue was 4.4 billion at the end of June.
Yeah.
That was the financial statements as they were presented to the AG.
I see. I mean, the question then is, does this surplus coincide with a surplus in service delivery as well?
You mean the deficit, Michelle?
I'm talking about this, pardon me, this deficit, yeah. Does it coincide then with the surplus of service delivery?
Look, we are busy at a very high level in interrogating every single aspect, and the focus of the new executive mayor is to improve on service delivery. So the team that is put together is already interrogating performances by the departments, looking at performance indicators to ensure that we place our focus squarely on service delivery as soon as possible. So we need to look at non-essential services, non-essential expenditure, and we need to reduce that to ensure that we have sufficient resources to do the basic service delivery, such as fixing street lights and fixing potholes, looking after water losses, and attending to electricity outages. So those are the focus areas that the mayor has announced quite publicly, and that is where we will be focusing our resources.
So you've got quite a history as MMC for Finance. In fact, this is a reappointment. In Tshwane specifically, how has Tshwane done in the past when it's come to its finances?
Well, Michelle, we started in 2016 after the local government elections. That situation was pretty much similar to what we are finding today. So there was accumulated operating deficits over a couple of years. The cash in the bank was totally insufficient to cover your day-to-day operational liabilities. And we improved the situation from that day on to March, when we left or we were forced to leave the governance of the city. So we've been in that situation before and we've turned it around. So I'm positive that we will again turn it around in the interest of the citizens of Tshwane.
In the interim, Mare-Lise, what does this mean now that the city of Tshwane is operating on a deficit?
Well, look, it transpires and it ends up in a deficit in the cash that you have in the bank.
So liquidity.
And what do I mean by that? Yes, what do I mean by that? I mean by that you build up your reserves, your cash reserves, over a period of time to have a situation where, should everything come to a halt, you have sufficient cash in the bank to be able to continue with your operations. Now, in the end of 2018, the 2017-18 and the 2018-19 financial years, we built up the cash in the bank to a level that would carry us in excess of 50 days. Now, the norm for a healthy financial organization is between 1 and 3 months cash that you should have in the bank. Now, we built that up over time from 2015-16, when it was, I think, 15 days, if I correctly remember. We built it up to in excess of almost 2 months of cash in the bank. Currently, the cash in the bank is 12 days. So that tells you that if something disastrous should happen at this point in time and we receive no revenue, the municipality has a very limited time span to continue with its operations.
Yeah.
So it's critical that you look at your expenditure, reduce your expenditure, look at your revenue, look at how you can improve on your revenue collection, and the combination of those two will ensure that you steadily build up your cash in the bank over a period of time to again be in a healthy financial situation.
Yeah, 12 days of cash reserves. That is incredibly worrying. And, you know, we've had this discussion over and over again on this show about the controls that are in place when it comes to expenditure. Given your experience in Tshwane, are those controls tight enough? Are they being adhered to? Are they being overseen?
Well, we've been in the seat for a week now, Michelle. So we are interrogating every single expenditure category. We are interrogating every single tender that was issued or a contract that was issued to ensure that it was value for money. If there's any irregularities, we will pick it up.
Yeah.
So we are focusing very, very sharply on what happened during this period that resulted in the deficit of 4.4 billion as at the end of June 2020.
Mare-Lise, I understand you say you've been in the seat for just 1 week. Just give us a quick reminder again of the specific areas that you're going to be focusing on in the coming days and weeks.
Well, as I said, firstly we have to look at revenue. We have to look at why revenue has decreased and make an assessment of how do we improve it, how do we get customers to again trust the municipality to pay for the services that they have consumed. Mm-hmm. That's the first challenge. And then secondly, we look at the expenditure side. We look at remuneration, we look at contract payments, we look at repair and maintenance, we look at all of those issues. And then we begin to focus our resources towards service delivery and the spending on service delivery. That would be ensuring that the teams are on the ground to attend to the shortages and the outages, that those things are working. Because that's what a city's core business is all about.
Indeed.
That's what municipalities are supposed to do. So we're trying to eliminate all the nice-to-haves that at this point in time is not critical in terms of service delivery, so that we can ensure that the basic services that the municipality is responsible for, that we can continue and do that efficiently.
And we look forward to touching base with you in the coming weeks to see how the situation in Tshwane is, hopefully by that stage, improving with just 12 days of liquidity in its bank accounts. Mare-Lise Fourie, thanks very much for your time this morning. She is the MMC for Finance in Tshwane.